Hello there, beautiful people. Gosh, it's been a little while since the London video, and I was hoping to make another video the following week and maybe just kind of check in with you like this once a week. But so busy teaching classes and working on the book and things like that. But I just wanted to thank you for so many beautiful comments on that video, and yeah, I just hope you're doing really well and that life is treating you well. And I really want to kind of come back to this channel a little bit more. I teach live, meditation classes and things on Insight Timer and Wellness Coach, like 4 days a week. And then I have my own stuff, with Authentic Living, or under my own name a lot more these days. And that's kind of growing in a nice, steady, quite gentle sort of way, like this channel is growing too. And it's just wonderful. And those of you who've been brought here because of the Do Not Love Half Lovers poem that kind of got recommended by YouTube, then what's wonderful to see is how some of you are accessing some of the meditation videos, some of the other poems, widening yourself out, connecting from all over the world. And because that's the case, I thought I'd come down to the river. I've got a flask of herbal tea with me. The leaves are falling onto the river, and hopefully the river's not too loud. I've put an earpiece in with a little microphone on. It's just my regular little headphones, and I've got my old phone with me and a selfie stick, so I look like an idiot. and I thought I would just kind of do something new that I'm going to try and do a little more often, which is just sort of pick out some of your comments from the last little while, from whatever video seems to be kind of getting the comments at the time, and just kind of replying to you. So that's easier than typing. So for everybody who has commented on the Do Not Love Half Lovers video, bless you so much. That video's gone through the roof. It's having like 80,000 views a month or something like that. I think it's gone up to like 350,000 views in total or something, which is insane for a channel like mine, which normally gets like 100 views per video, that sort of thing. So I'm great that that's out there doing the work. Even though it's been there for years, which is really quite interesting, Anyway, let me get to your comments. I just want to spend like 5 minutes with you, kind of dip into the sort of comments bin, and just say hello to a few of you a bit more directly. So first of all, I want to say hello to Gail, and she was watching, you were watching, Gail, the Variola poem, which is a poem I wrote many years ago, and it actually appeared in my first book. It's what got me, what made the first publisher come to me. I've never chased after a publisher in my life. I've been very lucky that way. Publishers have always come to me. It took a long time. I was writing for a long time, and then suddenly 15-20 years ago I get approached by the Rialto. We've come across this poem of yours, we want it for the magazine, but can we talk about you doing a book with us? So that was how my first book ever came out. And there's no self-publishing with me as much as possible. Everything is kind of worked through with a real publishing team and that sort of thing. And I'm quite strict about that as well, because there is actually a big difference between being part of a publishing team and stuff, and having books come out in that way, and kind of self-publishing. Nothing wrong with it if there's no other way, but I think people dishonor themselves quite a lot sometimes by not putting themselves through that process so that they can learn. I don't know if you can see the leaves falling. Leaves are falling all around me. Isn't that a Led Zeppelin song? Anyway, Gail, you say you felt the loss as if it was your own, and you're glad that the universe revealed me to you. And thank you for saying that this being is a beautiful soul. And you say, Gail, which is so kind, your deepest love to all those remaining and those separated and lost during the partition, the loss of their beautiful uniqueness and the barren wasteland of politics and difference. And yes, people create dualities in order to have power, and then they push those dualities onto people. And of course, we are so foolish sometimes within ourselves that we buy into those through they come under the guise of our religions, and they come under the guise of our politics and our relationships, and things that we agree on and things that we don't agree on. And yet if we would meet at the level of our souls, not our egos, we see the kind of the oneness of all life beneath everything. And then, the 1940s, you could literally call it the decade of Holocaust. You had the Holocaust that we all know about, but then the things like the hidden Holocausts of the Indian partition, which is basically a way that the British created as an extraction, a way to get out, cause division between two people after taking everything you can from them. Say, look at these insane people fighting with each other, and then reverse out saying, hey, we're the good guys, look what we gave you. And of course, I lost my 3 aunties in that, my grandma, people I never got to know, don't even know their names. And, I've healed that within myself, but it's a healing that hasn't taken place within the world. And from all those Holocausts, and it's amazing, 80 years later, the same stuff is repeating itself. And that's interesting to observe, because once something goes out of living memory or starts to be on the edge of living memory, then those same forces find their way back again, and we can see that happening in the world right now, And so that poem of mine was just to give some resonance to those lives and to say these people were here, because I think that's a really important job for the writer, to take themselves out of the way and to say, let's look at this world and not just talk about how they feel about things, and at the same time to kind of be straight up in our hearts and say, there's another way to do everything, which is the way of the one life, the soul, and all religions lead there if we will actually allow true religion. But when it's on that level of egoic identification and not actually even knowing anything about the kind of the core of what's being spoken of within the religions, truly, then we end up with the stuff that's been going on for thousands and thousands of years in every culture. It's not just one culture, it's all of them, and so it's not this lot did this and this lot did that and this lot are to blame. Any of us who don't turn ourselves towards consciousness and awareness and our soul are contributing to that, and everybody who turns towards the soul genuinely and authentically within themselves, not by the ego but by starting to remove the barriers so that space can open up within the self, then that's a contribution towards life in a real meaningful way. Everything else is just more stuff, Anyway, thank you, Gail, for your absolutely beautiful stuff. And then Daniela, hey Daniela, and I see you over on Insight Timer and Wellness Coach, I think, and in different places, so it's wonderful to hear from you. And Daniela says that she really enjoyed having that cup of coffee with me in London, so I hope you can enjoy being by the river today. And Daniela has just finished a 3-month yoga course, and what was amazing is the kind of stuff we were talking about at the end of the Coffee in London video sort of matched what she'd been learning on her yoga course, kind of, but in a real nutshell form. So she says it was really nice to see what she's been learning kind of affirmed, and that kind of resonance is there. So bless you, Daniela, and love to you. You're so welcome. Helen comments on She Let Go, which is, a poem that did so well. It's not my poem. It was written by the amazing Sapphire Rose. And then I recorded it on my phone one day, just like this, with an earpiece in on a regular headphone, and sent it off as a gift to somebody, just a really rough recording. And then I thought, I'll share this on Insight Timer, I'll share it on YouTube. And that poem went mad. And sometimes people think that I wrote it, but, part of my being a writer for years was to do live readings, and I always wanted to get out of the way and kind of give best voice to the poem so that they could live through that. And there was something about that poem coming together with my voice that seemed to trigger, even though it's a She Let Go poem. You'd be amazed how many comments I get saying, it should be a woman who read that poem out. And my thoughts, and Sapphire's thoughts on this, because we are in contact, because she's very happy that I recorded the poem, are both kind of like, hey, what's wrong with people? And guys also get in touch going, can you do a male version of the poem? And I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with it being she? Can't you just take what you need from it too, So always people try to bring that duality that we're talking about, and that's not about killing ourselves or making ourselves less of a man, less of a woman or anything like that. It means the soul within everything. We don't need to give up our lives, we need to actually find our lives. And She Let Go is just so much about that. It's about all those things that people try to put themselves into to find the truth of themselves when it's there already, which is all that my own teachings are about too. So it's a case of the poet and the teacher and the poem all matching up in one go. But bless you, Helen, it's lovely to connect with you, and I know that you connect through the other mediums as well, so fantastic. So many of you commenting on the Khalil Gibran poem, Khalil Gibran, as I've been told in the comments that it's meant to be. And then quite a lot of people, which is interesting, say, no, his name is Gibran, Khalil Gibran, and this, that, the other, The books that I have on my shelf at home say Khalil Gibran. And so I just say it the way that I learnt it since I've been reading him since I was 12 or 13 years old. And I appreciate everybody's inputs. I appreciate every comment. I appreciate, even the ones that say it should be like this and it should be like that, because you're all teaching me something all along the way, and one or two people have said, can you share the poem underneath as well? So thank you for showing me, and making me accountable and showing me how I can do things better on the YouTube and stuff like that. Just absolutely amazing, and one more, Ramesh, just a few days ago, talking about how half of something is an illusion and it's only wholeness underneath. And that's right, and that's exactly what Gibran is saying, and that's all that I'm saying with my teachings as well, or my sharings, or whatever you want to call them, that we fall into half a life, we fall into duality, because if we think that everything is two, then obviously there's one side and another. Half and half make a one. But when you drop the false consciousness that we're living through a little bit and allow that bit of space within yourself, and you're just then in your spontaneous self, even if it's just a tiny fraction more, you get a sense of that. And I won't even use the word oneness, because the opposite of duality isn't one, it's wholeness. And so Gibran is saying, do not love half lovers, but I would say then look for lovers and putting one's love into things that is in wholeness, not looking for the one outside of the self. It's wholeness within the self, meeting wholeness within another person, if we're talking about lovers, and then the two wholes just can resonate, and the love is there already. We're not looking for the answer in somebody else or in something else. She Let Go is saying the same thing. Everything that I talk about is saying the same thing. Yoga saying the same thing. I'm hardly original, am I? The only thing that may be different is my life has actually put this deep inside me, so that in some small way I'm actually living from that place, and that's all I try to share, the kind of the wholeness in myself with the wholeness in you, and hope that this channel and the meditations on insight and my own stuff, and I've got a lovely little retreat coming up for people who want to go a little bit deeper. I think that's on the 8th of October after the US elections, because I just thought I'd put something together for people after that time, not to be divisive, because everybody's welcome. You've got to hear what I say here. Everybody's welcome, even people who vote in a different direction to us, because the only thing that will make a difference is that space within oneself, the soul within oneself, letting go of the dualities within oneself, and then consciousness rises, and then we change. Compassion and empathy become natural to us and actually start to flow through the mediums that we live through. So we don't need to choose who we are, you see, or try and make somebody up. We just come back to ourselves. Anyway, I'm going to have a quick cup of herbal tea next to the river. My heart to each of you and every one of you, you beautiful humans. I'll make some more videos very soon, I promise. And I'm going to have 5 minutes by the river, quick cup of herbal tea, and then it's back home to teach a class on Wellness Coach. So maybe I'll see some of you in there. Lots of love. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.